You were working at Marussia in 2014 on Jules Bianchi's car when he had his fatal crash in Japan. How tough was that for you?
I mean, I wasn't prepared for it. You know, I was like 23, 24 years old. It was, you know, it's one of my first real, you know, memories and experiences in Formula One is sort of that day. So it was incredibly difficult. I was very lucky to have some older team members there around me and to be able to pick me back up and help me carry on. But like, yeah, it's one of those things. And like I say, Japan's one of my favorite circuits. But when we go there and it rains, obviously it brings back all those memories of that year. So it was really difficult. I think, you know, the hardest bit for me would always be, I distinctly remember having to go into that FIA garage and recover the chassis. You know, and I remember taking that cover off the chassis and just looking at the state it was in, and that was the bit, you know, that was the bit that it was just sort of too overwhelming to see it all. It was a tough time for a little while after that, you know, to just sort of keep my head in the job and something that I loved, but there was a little question of why am I doing this, you know? And
you were only in the sport a couple of years by that point.
Yeah, I think I'd started travelling towards the end of the 2012 season, so I hadn't really been in the sport for that long. Yeah, it was very difficult. Oh, same thing.
A lot of people, especially the modern day Formula One fans, Drive to Survive fans, don't actually realise that Jules' crash was one of the main reasons that the halo was introduced in 2018.
Yeah.
And as we know, it saved countless lives.
Yeah. I mean, not just F1, obviously. We've introduced those kind of regulations in most open cockpit cars now. So it's always nice to see that we learned and we made the sport better and safer.
How was the aftermath of Jules' crash? I mean, you ran one car the week after, correct?
Yeah, it was a double header, so we were straight to Russia. We built Jules' car and left it in the garage as a tribute. It was really difficult. I remember sort of the Wednesday of that week in Russia, trying to build rear ends and gearboxes in the garage, and it's one of those things, obviously the atmosphere and the mood in the garage is so
somber,
sort of morose, somber, and it's just really tough to sort of work in those conditions and continue to do the best job. So obviously not running the car was the only decision you could make anyway, not just because it was the right thing to do, but because also the people there working, we didn't feel that we were in a place where we could build a race car well.
And there was some pushback, right, to try and only run one car?
There was a little bit. I think Formula One's management's changed so much since Liberty took over.
Sure.
But certainly I remember at the time there was a little bit of pushback about us only running the one car, and certain people feeling that ultimately people are paid to see 22 cars and we were obliged to under the regulations. And yeah, it's one of those things where business and sport, they often collide, you know?
Yeah.
Thankfully, you know, we got through that and we didn't run the car, and like I said, I think it was the right decision.